acquaintance be?
Hey everybody, it's Jim and Heather from Super Sea Child Adventures. Just wanted to do a quick recap of 2024. Now we're headed towards the end of the year. Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll look forward to 2025. So if you've been watching the channel, or if you're new to the channel, you know we just got our first RV and picked it up in July of 2024. It's a 2024 Thor Pasadena. The story behind this was it's something I wanted to do for a while. Had to convince Heather into it for a little bit. Took us a while, but about this time last year, we started getting serious and started talking about what did we want, where did we want to go to take a look at one. So we ended up going to Tampa last year, Tampa 2024, right after the show, like the day after the show was over, and I went to General RV, and we kind of had in our mind what we wanted. I had visited out in Elkhart a few different times, a different manufacturer than what we ended up with. So we went to Tampa and placed an order in January. It took quite some time from January until late June before that unit arrived, and it ended up being not what we wanted. It was what we wanted. It just didn't show up in the best of shape, and it's unfortunate because I really like that manufacturer, at least the looks of it. I think they do. They have that nice paint, and to me, I'm a car guy, so the exterior is important to me. It just there was a lot of flaws in it. And we decided to go a different route. So we picked this one up from General RV down in this was in Florida. We had it shipped up into Virginia, and decided to deal with the folks in General RV in Virginia after an unpleasant experience at the General RV in Elizabethtown, PA. I would never, ever, ever go back to them and buy from them. And because of that, I don't know that I would necessarily buy from General RV, but most likely would. But it definitely would not be dealing with the folks in Pennsylvania. So we'll talk a little bit about what we did and what was new and what was different for us. This, again, being brand new to this, I didn't understand or didn't expect everything that goes into your first RV and what you need to do and all the stuff that you need. Not necessarily the interior stuff and different things that you want to do to your rig to make it your own, but a lot of things such as, this is a 40-foot rig, and I didn't want to leave it someplace and have to pay storage. So we had to do some prep work. We had to clear space, clear some land, and it took a lot to put a 50-foot pad down. It's 50 foot by 20 foot, so this rig would fit in there. That was quite a bit of money to get that done because of where we live and the way we had to move a lot of dirt to make that happen. We put a 50 amp service in so we could always keep it plugged in. I mean, just those are the type of things that you don't think about whenever you're buying your first rig. Now, it's going to be good for as long as we're going to live here, and whether we keep this rig or go someplace else, we'll be able to use this. However, I mean, between the two of them, that's knocking on a door $10,000 that we didn't expect to spend. On top of that, you have to have your sewer hoses, you have to have your water hoses, you have to have your pressure regulators, and there's so many other things that come along with a new rig. Now, when you trade this one in, you can always use that with the new rig. In my opinion, it would be nice when you're spending that kind of money, and it doesn't matter if it's a travel trailer that's $25,000 or if it's Prevost that's or a Newell that's $2 million. In my opinion, the dealership should give you a starter pack, and maybe some do. General doesn't, or at least they didn't with us. So when you start adding all that other stuff up, you start adding another couple $1,000s to the bottom line. And it's just things that I just didn't understand, didn't know, and I'm an impatient person, so I was buying different things that we wanted or what I wanted for the other rig, and then to find out I couldn't use it on this rig, so I ended up selling some of it, used a lot of it, but So that's how it all started. And so we picked this up on July the 1st of 2024, like I said, down in Ashland, Virginia. And from there, the very next weekend, we took it out to see what it was going to be like. And so our first stop was, if you don't know, we're in Central PA, so Gettysburg is always a place that people go to, and it's close. So we decided to go to Gettysburg and try it out for its trial run. And I'll put video clips throughout this and different places we stopped. And if I have a full video of some of the places we stopped, I'll put those links in the description. What did you think about Gettysburg? Why don't you talk about the first stop in Gettysburg?
Well, we had booked the first stop in Gettysburg because we wanted to get a feel for, setup and how everything works, and before we took a longer trip. And so we just did like a Google search of campgrounds in Gettysburg, and we booked our first trip, and we got there, and it was a little unpleasant. The spot that they put us in the first spot they put us in was very unlevel, and so we asked if we could move to a different spot. So they put us in another spot that was right next to the highway, and there was just a lot of debris and junk sitting around, and so we just decided to vacate that campground. And
that campground, by the way, was Round Top. I know there's a lot of people that go to Gettysburg. It was Round Top. The first, we have our rig's 40 foot long. Again, brand new. We never had backed it into anything before, and they wanted to put us on what looked like the top of a sand mound. It was unlevel to the point where front and back, side to side, and it was only 36 foot long. So we were going to be hanging out into a street or one of the streets inside the campground, and it was also bike week, so there was a lot of traffic there. So we decided. I got frustrated pretty quickly and thought, if this is the way the RV life's going to start out, boy, maybe I made a mistake. But I'm glad we stuck it out. So we left Round Top.
So we left Round Top and ended up going to another campground. I believe it was called Granite Hill. Mm-hmm. Granite Hill. And we were there wasn't any water or sewer hookup. And it was kind of in the middle.
No, there was water, no sewer.
No sewer.
So we had 50 amp electric and water.
Okay. And it was kind of in the middle of a field, but we were fine with it. We weren't super close with our neighbors, and there was plenty of room for the dogs to run and, do their business. And it was, I would say, for our first outing, it was decent. We had a lot of work that we wanted to get done on this first trip, and just learn how things worked. Just get a feel for the slides and the leveling, and it was a pretty good first trip, I would say.
Yeah, I like Granite Hill. Again, we called on a late Friday afternoon, trying to book for the same day during bike week. And for anybody, I imagine it's like it's any place that's a tourist town that has a bike week. It was very busy. So again, we were in the backside of the campground. Ended up being pretty nice. It didn't have full hookups because we were so late in booking, but it was perfectly fine. And like Heather said, there was things that we wanted to get done, like starting to clean up the rig both inside and out to make it our own. I wanted to change the headlights, and I have a video of doing that, so I can link that in there if anybody wants to take a look at how to put LEDs into the Freightliner chassis. So again, I think Granite Hill was okay, and it was something that we wanted to do because we were the very next week taking off for a long trip. So Gettysburg's 20 miles away, and then the very next weekend, middle of the week, we were leaving for Louisville to the NSRA Nationals in Louisville. So that's a long haul for us. It's about 10 hours. I've pulled a bunch of trailers before and a bunch of classic cars, but this first time I'm pulling a trailer on a motorhome that's already 40 foot long. So when you add everything in, you're 70 feet long going down the road, 10-hour drive. I wanted to see what it was like before we headed to Louisville. So that was the reason for Granite Hill. We ended up going, like I said, going to Louisville the very next weekend, or the next week. We left on a Tuesday or Wednesday. The shows usually start on Thursday. Now there's full hookups in Louisville, but anybody that's been to NSRA in Louisville, it's at the fairgrounds, at the Kentucky State Fairgrounds, and their camping has full hookups, but their full hookups are limited. So I think they have like 25 sites, which we had booked this well in advance before we even got the RV. But it's also, in a parking lot because it's designed for people that are there with horse trailers or whatever for and farmers for the state fair. But it was great. We got what I thought was a good spot. We were close.
That was kind of a first come first serve also. So like the earliest you got there, the best site you would get, because it was kind of your choice. The first to get there was your choice. So
yeah, I think we got there. I think now that I think about it, we got there on Tuesday, because by Wednesday it was already packed in and they were putting people pretty close and tight to each other. So we got what I think was a really good spot. It was mostly level. The nice part about it is, the car show was a couple hundred yards away. And so anybody, again, that's never been to NSRA Louisville, at the car show, it's kind of first come, first serve. So wherever you end up, after you get into the gate, that's where your spot is. And there's some pretty coveted spots that people want. So it's insane how people will start lining up at 8, 9 o'clock at night on Wednesday night to allow for the gates to open at 6 a.m. the next morning. And they'll sleep in their cars and their trucks or whatever. With us being in the campground or the fairgrounds, we're already on property. So all I had to do is just, unfortunately, I had to get up early. But everybody from the campground, we got onto the fairgrounds sooner than everybody else. And you're able to claim your spot. And then once you get your spot, you pretty much have it for the whole weekend. So Louisville worked out good. I don't know. It was uneventful. We had a lot of rain going down, and really the first 5 or 6 trips we took, we were in rain almost the entire time.
Yeah, and I think that's whenever we found our first water leak, because we were driving, on the highway, and it was pouring down rain, and that's when we, found water, and it ended up being just, a quick fix. It was just some caulking, right?
Yeah, just a little bit of sealant, literally this much of a space that didn't have sealant between the cab and the cap. And as soon as I pulled over, I was able to see it, and we got that sealed up. Now, because it was so far up underneath the cap, when it's raining and you're not driving and the rain's coming straight down, there's no way for it to intrude. But when you're in a driving rain, then we were able to find it, and we tracked it down pretty quick. And it was below the subfloor, so it was below the wood and didn't have anything to worry about. So we'll get that all straightened up. And then from there, where'd we go?
From there that was Ives Run, which was in Tioga County, Pennsylvania. So it was almost at the New York state line, I guess.
Yeah, you're about 12 miles, 15 miles away from the state line in New York. Ives Run is a Corps of Engineers property, and most of those, at least the ones that we've seen, are spread out. You got plenty of room. It was kind of a rainy weekend. I'll put a link to a video that we did there, but it was a good weekend. Now, with again, most Corps engineers, I assume, are like this. Power and water, no sewer, but it's a 3-day weekend. Our tanks are plenty big enough. I really enjoyed it. We were close to the lake. I think it's Hammond Lake that's up at Ives Run, and you're right on the lake. Plenty of biking trails, hiking trails, lake view. It was a good time.
And it was a quiet, laid-back atmosphere. So, I mean, we just it was a relaxing weekend. So we did the campfire and watched a little bit of TV on our TV outside under the canopy, and yeah, it was just a relaxing weekend. So,
and by the time we were into our third trips, The dogs were starting, Herbie and Bugsy, if you don't know, are our Chow Chows. Um, they were starting to settle in. Bugsy really took to RVing, loves it. Right away, he took to it. And we always thought it was going to be Herbie. It was going to be the other way around. Herbie wasn't a big fan at first because I don't think he likes the noise of the air brakes. And I think that got him upset, but now he's kind of gotten used to it. And we also have got to the point where we set the dinette down and make it into a bed, and he just sits up there and he sleeps. And sometimes, it's whether it's a 10-hour ride or a 10-minute ride, he goes to sleep and he's fine. So it's worked out pretty good. But Ives Run's definitely a place that I would go back again. I think we're planning on going in 2025, and we'll talk about that here coming up on some of our plans. And then after Ives Run, there's something that we went on our next trip. It was something we've been looking forward to from the exact very day that we put our initial order in for the first rig down in Tampa. Tell them what we did.
So we put the deposit down on the RV that we had ordered at Tampa, and we left General RV down there in Tampa and headed to Disney. And we booked our trip to the Disney Fort Wilderness Campground that same trip. So we were definitely looking forward to that because we are big Disney fans, and it would be a trip to Disney, the first trip to Disney that we could take the dogs. So we were definitely excited about that.
Yeah, we've been to Disney probably 100 times, literally. That's where we spent our honeymoon. It's where we continue to go. That's our happy place. It's just a place that you can just escape reality for a while. And going to Fort Wilderness is something that was a new experience. Now, we had stayed at Fort Wilderness in the cabins, but obviously the first time in RV, and it was a new experience. It was everything we expected, everything we had hoped for. And so if you've been down there during any of the holidays, you got to book out way early. So we booked this in January. We booked in September, and we'll talk about it coming up. We also booked in December. But if you book around the holidays, it's going to get busy. It's Disney, so unfortunately, it's pretty expensive as well around the holidays. But you get so much with the Disney experience, and something we really enjoyed. So being down there at the end of September, still in September. Not so scary Halloween party at Magic Kingdom. So Disney's all decorated for Halloween. We're decorated for Halloween, both inside and out, and I'll make sure to put a link for that video as well. It's everything we expected. It is not a campground where you go to relax because there's lights everywhere, there's decorations everywhere, there's noise everywhere. It shuts down at 11 o'clock and it's quiet, but it's not one of those places where you go to relax, but it's a place that we love. So
I wonder though if you go during a non-seasonal time, it would probably be quieter. Mm-hmm. I just think there was a lot of activity because of it being, around Halloween. There was kids out that were, trick-or-treating, so we put candy out. But I think if you go like just during a normal time, it's probably quieter.
I'm sure. But I mean, there's something going on at Disney all the time.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, we watched a lot of videos on Fort Wilderness and heard a lot of horror stories about how tight it is to get into spots. And of course, when we're driving down there and we get a notification of what our site number is, we right away get online to see, okay, where's the spot at and what's it look like, and so we get there, and I loved it. I mean, there was in my opinion, there was plenty of space between campsites. On our campsite, there was no one beside us, so there was plenty of room. You didn't even see the next camper. There was a little creek behind us. I don't know. I really liked the spot.
And with Fort Wilderness, you're going to have everything from people down there in tents, again, all the way up to the most expensive motorhomes on the road. And you'll see that especially in our Christmas video. You have everything. So for us, we get a premium spot because they're a little bit longer. They're at least 50 foot long. Most of them are 60 or above long, and they're all 18 to 22 feet wide. And in this case, we ended up in the same spot both in September and December, where there was nobody on our campsite, and so we had plenty of space to open up and be able to do the decorations, everything. Now, the drag on Disney for us coming out of central Pennsylvania, it's even if you're deadheading, it's 16 hour drive, and that's if you're deadheading and you're running pretty good. So on the way down, we did some boondocking in North Carolina and made a one night stop on the way down. Spent the week at Disney, and then on the way back, we stopped at a place we stopped at a long time ago when we were just basically kids. South of the border. Turns out that they have a campground there. It's called Pedro's Campground. It's basically halfway between here and Disney. So it worked out really good for us. It was quiet. There was quite a few people there. I was surprised. But almost everybody we talked to was on the way either to or from Florida, and from the, somewhere in the Northeast or the Mid-Atlantic. And so that was a nice stop, and relatively inexpensive. It was clean. A lot of seasonal people there up on the far end, but I'd definitely stay there again. And again, we did a quick video on that, so I'll link that in there if you want to take a look at that as well. And then, so after Disney in September, in early October, we went to Sun Outdoors in Ocean City. We were there for a car show. And it's actually in Berlin, Berlin, Maryland. There's two Sun Outdoors relatively close to each other. One used to be Frontier Town, and now it's called Sun Outdoors Frontier. And then we stayed at, it used to be called Castaways, now it's Sun Outdoors. Sun Outdoors purchased both of them. We had some friends, Izzy and MJ from Endless RVing, that stayed at the other site. It's more of a party atmosphere, pretty wild. Now, I think they were there over 4th of July, so that probably had a lot to do with it. But the one in Berlin, what used to be Castaways, is more laid back, plenty of space. I mean, I had my car trailer on our property and on our site, and still had plenty of room for the rig and my C10 that I took down there. So we really enjoyed Ocean City. It's right on the bay, and we enjoyed it so much that we've again, we'll talk about this coming up. We booked it twice in 2025, again for the fall car show, but they also do a car show in May. So we're going to go down in May and October next year. But what did you think about Sun Outdoors in Ocean City?
I liked it. Now, when we were there, it was a little closer to Halloween, and I believe it was Saturday night. They had a trick or treat for the kids, so we sat outside with the candy and just watched all the trick-or-treaters come by, and it was nice.
Yeah, it was a good time. There was almost all the sites were decorated again because of Halloween. The people were great. I would say.
Well, do you remember when we first got there? Because we had some decorations in the RV from when we were at Disney, and we were thinking about maybe putting up maybe one thing or something when we got to Ocean City, because there was nobody else decorated, and I was like, I don't know about this. Maybe we're not allowed. Maybe they don't allow us to do that kind of thing. So, and we were talking to our neighbor, and she was like, "Oh, you just wait till it gets closer." So, as the days went by, there was like more and more people that were like they were going way out, and we're like, okay, so we just dug out more, pretty much everything that we had with us.
Yeah, we didn't do it quite as much as we did at Disney, but we were pretty close.
Yeah.
And we got there early on Wednesday, and by Friday, everybody was there for the weekend and for the Halloween party that they had on Saturday. So it was decorated. It was a good time, and I would say probably half of the fair or the campground was car show people, but it's obviously people that had been there before, because not only were the guys there for the car show, the women and the kids were there for the Halloween party. So it was a good time. We're definitely going to go back. Like I said, we're going to go to the May show, which I haven't been to the May car show in years, just because of beach traffic. But we're going to go in May, and we're also going to go in October next year and stay at Sun Outdoors. Really nice sites right on the beach. A lot of different places as far as different types of sites. It's Sun Outdoors, and it's not Disney expensive, but it's not cheap. You're probably looking at for the site we had, I think we were like 129 maybe.
Oh, this. Well, it was it was about 100, but with fees and everything on top of that.
So, and it was more expensive over the weekend. So, but it's Sun Outdoors. You get a lot of amenities. The place was nice, and again, I liked it. So that was in early October, and then towards the end of October, we lucked out, and there's a place that everybody in this area talks about. It's called 7 Points on Raystown Lake. It's another Corps of Engineers, and we lucked out, and we got a spot right during the peak of the fall season and the leaves changing, and we had a lake view even though it was elevated, and boy, I tell you, it was really, really nice. It was a lot of hills, a lot of walking trails and biking trails, but there's a lot of hills, so you got to be in pretty good shape because even with an electric bike, boy, there were some that were challenging. But we definitely want to go back there, and I think you really liked it too.
Yeah, I liked it. Especially like you said, the fall foliage. I mean, it was beautiful, right on the lake, and I really enjoyed it.
So we'll get some pictures and put in this video, and just so you can see that. I still haven't put a video together on that trip. I do want to do that and get that out. So again, continue to like and follow the channel, and you'll be able to see those videos. But 7 Points, Raystown, Corps of Engineers, really, really great. Wide open sites, quiet, and that's typical, right, of Corps of Engineers. And the other nice thing about Corps of Engineers or even state parks is, they don't beat you up so much on the pricing. So you can get a whole weekend, a 3-day weekend in for less than it's going to cost you one night at Sun Outdoors or at Disney. So that's how we kind of offset it a little bit. We try to do state parks or Corps of Engineers a couple times, and they're just relaxing weekends. And then we know we're going to spend the money to go to some of the bigger parks or closer to some of the bigger attractions. So that was the end of October. We didn't do anything in November. Again, we bought this thing. We want to use it. We want to make sure that, I hate to say get your money's worth out of it, but what's the sense of sitting home? At the end of the day, we bought it to make memories. We bought it to go on trips. I can make more money. I mean, it is what it is. I can't make more memories, and I surely can't make more time. And I can tell you, anybody out there watching this video, no matter how much time you think you've got left, it's not enough, and two, it's not going to be as long as what you think it is. So take the time, get out there, go places, do the things that you want to do, and do it within reason. Make sure you're paying your bills, make sure you're taking care of your family. But after that, hey, don't leave it for anybody. Go out and enjoy life, and go see the places you want to see, and go do the things you want to do. So then after Raystown, again, being big Disney fans, we went back to Disney, and this time was for Christmas. So it was a week before Christmas, which was just, a week ago before making this video. And we stopped at, on the way down, we stopped at a Harvest Toast in Rocky Mountain Mills, North Carolina. That was nice. We could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, the area was nice. The parking lot where we were setting up there wasn't really any level spots, so it was only for one night, so it was not a big deal. We weren't able to put the slides out, but it was okay. And it was cold.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. I mean,
it was freezing.
It was 19 degrees that night, and I'll tell you, that typically you don't see weather like that. Obviously, whenever you're down south, what I would consider down south, but it was a cold weekend, and I don't think I would want to do winter camping because of that. And then the next night we stayed at Savannah Lakes, just outside of Savannah. And now by the time we got to Disney the following, 2 days later, it was a little bit better. It wasn't freezing, but I'll tell you, camping when it's bitter cold, you don't want to go outside and do anything. So, you're sitting in the RV watching TV, hanging out with the dogs, which is fine. But, camping in the winter to me just doesn't seem like it's going to be fun. But so we stayed at Harvest Toast and, Rocky Mountain Mills. We had a good time. Yeah,
there's a lot of restaurants right there within walking distance. And the area itself to me, seemed safe, and it was clean. It just wasn't level, but really we only pulled over there to sleep. So yeah, I mean, I would stay there again if we.
Yeah, I would too. And it's right off 95, so easy access in and off. And then from there, we went to Savannah Lakes for a one-night stay in Hardeeville, South Carolina, about 15 minutes from Savannah, Georgia. So it's right on the South Carolina Georgia line, right off of 95. Again, we did a small video on that, so I won't touch on it too much. It was nice. It was big, open, new, and clean. Wasn't a lot of people there. It was a weekend before Christmas, and it was cold as well. It was 26 degrees, I think, there. So the dogs enjoyed it. Not me so much. It was too damn cold to do anything.
It was a little more expensive, but they had a lot of amenities. I mean, they had, a couple pools. They had couple dog parks. They had a couple recreation, with pool tables and things to do. So I guess that's
I think you could probably go there for a whole week with the family and have a good time. If that's the other thing too is we don't use a lot of the amenities at the campgrounds we go to. When we go to Disney, we're going to Disney. When we go to some of these other campgrounds, I mean, it's, we'll go hang out with the neighbors, get to know them, but we don't use the swimming pools. We don't use game rooms. We don't use laundromats. So all the things that you're paying for in these prices are great if you're going to spend more than a day or two. And if you're going to take the whole family, that's great. So kind of use that to weigh in on where you're going to stay or some of the things that you're going to do. For us, it's a little bit different, and also when it's sports season, for me, hockey and football, I'm not going to use the amenities. I'm going to be at the RV either next to the fire watching the game on TV or watching the game inside when it's 20 degrees outside. So we put a really nice video together about our drive down to Disney in December. So put that in the descriptions or a link to it. And then from there we went to Fort Wilderness, and we were supposed to stop in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
At Sun Outdoors in Jacksonville. It was a 2-hour drive to Jacksonville, another 2-hour drive to Disney, and we thought, what? Let's see if we can't just go straight to Disney and only have to do the setup one time. So we called, got a site for that night, and then moved in our big site the following day. So we were at Disney for 8 days, I think, and it was a really good time.
Yeah, I think because we had called and asked if they had an extra night, they ended up putting us in a spot that we weren't too fond of. But it was only for that first night, which was fine. And then they ended up moving us to another site, which happened to be the same site that we were in September. So, I mean, since we knew we liked that site, so we were happy about that.
Yeah. So when you book at Disney at Fort Wilderness, again, there's different types of sites. And the first night they put us in what they call a Premium Meadows site, which is going to be closest to the Meadows Trading Post. And they're coveted sites. To us, it just didn't work out. I didn't like it very much. I kind of wanted to be away from everything. We were in site 525, and the way it is on a corner, you have a neighbor directly behind you, and basically it's a triangle, right? So you have our vehicle right in the middle, and then two other opposing ones, so on kind of angled in on a 45-degree angle. So all three of the sites back into each other. And I wasn't a big fan of Site 525, and I wouldn't stay there again on 525. But the rest of the loop is a little bit tight. We like the 1300 loop. The 1200 loop's nice. The 1100 loop's nice. The 700 is also Premium Meadows. We're hoping that's maybe where we're going to get next year. But those are our favorite sites. But I don't think there's a bad site other than 525. I just don't like that site at all. So I got to get the video together for Disney at Christmas time. We had a really, really good time. We stayed there 8 days. You did a full decoration on the inside, so we got some video of that. There's just so much to do at Disney, and you can talk a little bit about different things to do at the fort, I mean, fireworks, everything else, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Fort Wilderness is it is huge. And I would say the majority of the people that are staying there either bring a golf cart or they rent a golf cart from the fort.
You have to.
And the majority of the people, that's what they do. They just, I guess, what they call looping, and they just ride around on the golf carts and check out the different loops and you know, like what we did. I mean, we rented a golf cart and just rode around and looked at all the different decorations and
If you're a type of family that likes to go out and look at Christmas lights during the season, Fort Wilderness is awesome for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is decorated, and again, I'll put some video, some B-roll on this video, and I'll put a bigger video together to show it to you. It's not a quiet, relaxing week, right? Because there's always something going on, and there's a good chance that your neighbors are going to have lights on from the time it gets dark at 5 o'clock until 11 o'clock, and there's going to be music playing. And
our neighbors across the street, they had their inflatables up the whole time we were there and their lights, but it didn't bother me at all.
No.
Like I didn't hear really. The only thing I heard was people on golf carts, you know, riding by, but that stopped after probably 11 or midnight at the latest.
And people put out stockings for kids, and people will come around and put things in the stockings, and maybe it's a small type of trinkets or some type of candy or something like that. So it's just a Christmas atmosphere the entire time, and we really enjoyed it. We had a really good time. The unfortunate part is when we left there, we had to get home for a couple different reasons. So we deadheaded from Kissimmee to Central PA, and we didn't stop. We stopped for fuel once, and we stopped to eat once, and of course, we stopped at Buc-ee's. So anybody, that's the other nice thing about going down south. There's Buc-ee's all over the place down south.
And I know, but like every time you walk out of there, it's like $100, $200.
Yeah, it's Buc-ee's. If you haven't been there, Buc-ee's is its own experience. So we'll put something together on that. But we deadheaded, and we were trying to beat the weather. There was supposed to be snow coming in on the next day, so it was an 18-hour drive, and that is something I would not recommend doing, but it's something we had to do.
Yeah.
So that's that was our year in review. We put we picked up our rig because it went from Indiana to Florida, and then from Florida to Virginia. So when we picked it up, I think it had 2,600 miles on it, 2,800 miles on it. And the odometer at the end of the year stopped at just shy of 11,000 miles. So we put a lot of miles on it. 2025, we're going to be using it from pretty much April on. We have the rig right now out in Indiana, just getting a few small things taken care of that the dealership, was not going to be able to get done in a timely manner. So the rig's out in Indiana. We'll pick it up there sometime whenever the weather breaks in February or March. And then we start our first trip in early April. And what are you looking forward to the most? I'm going to pull up on my phone all the places we're going, but what are you looking forward to the most?
I don't know. We have a trip to Maine planned, which I'm excited for. Of course, we're going back to Disney for Halloween and Christmas, so that's always a favorite of mine. What else do we have?
So we're going to start out. These are RV related, not necessarily taking the RV. So we're going to go to the Florida RV Super Show in Tampa. That is coming up next week, or about 10 days from now. So we'll be in Tampa. So if anybody's in Tampa and you see us, say hello. And then from there, we're going to go to the Harrisburg RV Show because it's right next door to us. And that is in end of January, first week of February. I'll have to look. And then we're going to do the Maryland RV Show, which we went to last year. It's in Timonium, right outside of Baltimore. And then we're going to start camping from there. So we're going to go to Lums Park in Delaware. It's a state park. That's in the first weekend of April. And then we have Raystown Lake at the end of April. Again, another, those two being state parks and Corps of Engineers, going to be more laid back and quiet. And then we're going back to Disney in April. Now we're going down there for a concert to see Alan Jackson in Tampa. So we're going to go to Fort Wilderness, or at least to Disney. I don't know if we'll go to Fort Wilderness or stay someplace else, but we're doing that in April. And then, as we mentioned, we're going to do the car show in Ocean City, Maryland in May. Another new place for us called Goose Point is Corps of Engineers in Virginia. That's in early May. Another Corps of Engineers after that called Tompkins Lake. It's north of Pittsburgh, somewhere close to Erie, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. It looks nice online, so we're going to check that out. And then from there, we're going to go meet some friends and stay at the Greenwood State Park in South Carolina. And that's over Memorial Day weekend. So we got some friends that are going to be camping right next to us that live down in that area. So that should be a good time. And then we're going to another Corps of Engineers in Shenango, again, Western PA. That would be in June. And then we're getting ready for our what we've been looking forward to for some time. Moorings Oceanfront RV Resort, or I think it's just more of a campground. It's in Belfast, Maine, and that's over the 4th of July weekend. So it's going to be go up 1st of July and stay through that week and a weekend, and then come back on Sunday. So never been to Maine. That's something we're looking forward to, and we got a beautiful spot overlooking the ocean.
Yeah, but if any of you guys have any recommendations of your favorite spots, put it in the comments below, because we are definitely open to new places. This is like new to us, and we're just doing some research on different campgrounds. So if you guys have any recommendations, places that you've enjoyed, and things to do, just leave us a comment so we can check them out.
Yeah, and then after Moorings, we're going to go to Williamsburg, Virginia. It's not too far. Most of these are going to be 3-day weekends. We've never, I've been to past Williamsburg a million times. Never stopped and checked out the town. And we don't know where we're staying there, but we want to stay somewhere close to Williamsburg. So if you know of a location, drop something in the comments there. So we're going to go to Williamsburg. That's going to be in July. It's going to be a warm one. And then from there, we're going out to Senecaville, Ohio, and staying on Seneca Lake. And I think that's at Ohio State Park. That's going to be in early August. We got other friends and co-workers. I'm hoping they live out in that area. I'm hoping they can join us. We'll see if that's going to happen. And then that gets through August, and then we start getting back into the fall season. And then another couple that we made friends with, and they got a great channel. It's Our Everyday Getaway. So if you know Chris and Katrina, that was easy for me to say. If you know those two, hey, it's going to be a good time. So follow them. It's Our Everyday Getaway. So they are having a rally, and it is in Woodbine, Maryland. That's the weekend before the Hershey show. So a couple hour drive from Hershey. So we're going to go there. That should be a good time. The following week, we're going to go up to Hershey RV show, and then back into Fort Wilderness in September, and then Ocean City in November, and try to catch Ives Run in October. We haven't had that booked yet. You can't book that far out for Corps of Engineers. So we're going to try to get to Ives Run at Raystown in October, just to see the leaves changing, and then we're going to finish up the year in 2025 with going to Chickateek. It's Sun Outdoors Chickateek. It's in Virginia. Again, right on the bay. Looking forward to that. It's going to be my birthday weekend, so I don't have to pay for that weekend. Heather's paying for it, so that should be good. And then so we're looking forward to that. And then the other thing we're really looking forward to is we've made some arrangements, made some changes, that we're going to be in at Disney World next year in December, and we're going to be there for the majority of the month. We're going to be there for 3 weeks. So that one's going to hurt. That's going to be painful in the wallet for 3 weeks at Disney. But again, hey, you make memories. You can make more money. You're making memories while you're doing it. You can't make more time, so go out and enjoy it. So that's 24 wrap up. That's 25 looking forward. Anything else you want to say? I know it's been long. It's going on 40 minutes here, a little over 40 minutes. I would just say if you like RVing, get out there and do it. If you're not sure about it, go out and buy a rig. Go out and do it.
Or start out small, like
Yeah.
just get,
You don't have to do what we did. We
Pull
jumped
up-
in
yeah,
both feet.
yeah.
Looking back, I probably wouldn't have done it differently, but we jumped in both feet and spent more than probably what we should have.
But I think it depends on, we bought the unit we did because you want something that was drivable.
And something I could pull
yeah.
to car shows.
Well, yeah, and then, taking the dogs, we want something where they could,
But we've got a lot of friends we got friends that go in tents. We have friends that have towables and fifth wheels, and everybody has a good time.
Yeah.
I can tell you're going to have some issues, especially if it's a newer unit or an old unit. You'll have some issues. A brand new unit, you're going to have some issues. You can work through those. Somewhere in the middle is probably where you might want to land, and you can get into it relatively inexpensive. It's not cheap to RV, but boy, it's a good time. And I wish we would have done it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's us. I really would appreciate it if you would share this video, if you would like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to show and share our adventures. We'll continue to have our Super C, and we'll continue to have our Chow Chows, Super C Chow Adventures. I hope that you'll take the time to like and subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing. It helps us out, gets more people aware of what we're doing and what's out there and available. So Happy New Year, everybody. Have a great 2025, and look forward to seeing you as we go down the road.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Thanks.
My dear, for all lang syne, let us drink a cup of kindness.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, ciao.